Hi, welcome to Godly Fighters Ministries. I am Militia and I'm back with another word. So, we're just going to dive right into this teaching. My title that I have for you is Discovering Fulfillness. And so, I got my Bible in front of me, I got my MacBook in front of me with some notes. And so, bear with me as I work my way through this. Our scripture comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 and 24. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple things. I want to define a few things. And so first we will be defining what a job is. A job is a piece of work, especially a specific task done as part of a routine of one's occupation, or for an agreed price. And then another definition here is a post of employment, full-time or part-time position. Then we have employer. An employer is a person or business that employs one or more people, especially for wages or salary. Then we have passion. Passion is an intense desire or enthusiasm for something. And last but not least, we have purpose. Purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So I hope you were able to follow along with those definitions. Just a little recap. We have a job is done for income to take care of yourself, your family, and whatever other responsibilities that you may have. Your purpose is what you're called and are born to do. And your passion is things that you may like to do, things that were placed on your heart, they're enjoyable for you, fun for you, whatever, however you want to define it. Now, your purpose typically is something that's made clear through God. So it's not, we don't just come off the bat knowing, most of us don't just come off the bat knowing what our purpose is. We are all taught to get a job, that we have to work to take care of ourselves, and that's a part of adulthood, or some of us reach that point earlier in life where that's a need for us. But nonetheless, like, we all at some point have bills, responsibilities, children, or even just ourselves that we need to provide for. And so that's where a job comes into play. All three may or may not coincide with one another, and that's okay. We all will not be doing for work what we are called to do for God's kingdom. On your journey of working, having different passions, and ultimately finding out what your purpose is, you'll learn and discover different talents and abilities that you have. Now, although I said that your job and your purpose and your passions won't all necessarily be the same, or doesn't have to have anything to do with one another, the talents and abilities that you gain, the experiences that you have, now those will all tie in with one another. Things that you learn on your job will help you in fulfilling your purpose, and things that you may have passions for, things that are placed on your heart, those sometimes also are in alignment with your purpose. Now, it may not be the same thing, but the skills that you develop in doing that, or the experiences that you have, will ultimately help you on your purpose, because God ties everything that we go through in for our greater good. And we are all here because we have a purpose to fulfill on this earth. So, of course, if I'm a carpenter, the building that I'm doing and learning how to lay foundations and the different steps in my role on my job will somehow play a part in what he later calls me to do. And again, don't think of it like, oh, my purpose is going to be to build churches. Like, no, it might not be that to be that to that capacity. The building that you may do may be totally different, but the skill of learning processes and having patience and watching things develop may tie into what your purpose is going to be. So with that, you don't want to allow jobs to be a trap. You don't want to be chasing money. You don't want to put yourself in environments where you can't even focus on a higher being. You can't focus on God. You can't focus on your purpose. All you doing is going to work every day. That job wearing you down. You're surrounded by people that don't mean you no good. All because you placed yourself in a situation where you was worried about some money. And now I told y'all I was going to be transparent on this channel. So I'll share with you that is an experience that I've had. So I've always, like I told y'all in another video, that for the past 12 years, I have worked in the capacity of social service. It is my desire, purpose, and passion to help and pour into other people. And so I align myself in jobs where I did that. And mind you, like I said, I aligned myself in jobs that did that. And for the most part, God was pleased with that and he was okay with that. But this particular job that I signed myself up for, I had got to a place in life where I wanted more money. God was providing for me and my children. I was able to travel. My needs were being met. But I got a little greedy and I wanted more, and I wanted more now. And so I signed up for this role that allowed me to make a good amount of income. And at first I was liking it. I was liking the job because I was helping people, and I was liking, of course, the income, which that was originally like a huge motivator for me in going there. But I was out of alignment being there. And I didn't recognize that until, God showed me that after things started going left and he had to pull me back into alignment and readjust me. He used it for his greater good, and because he will always do that for us. Like, you make yourself go left, he gonna, if you have a relationship with him and you're yielding to his leading, he'll pull you back right. And he's going to show you where you went wrong and why you're not supposed to be there. And for me personally, he redirected me and got on me about chasing money. And he let me know, I have always provided for you. You and your children have always been taken care of. I had my daughter young, and we've never needed for anything. And so I had no business being out here chasing money, and when I should solely be focusing on chasing God. And so I put myself in a situation where that was not where I was supposed to be. I had experienced a lot of people at one time who were not happy with themselves and their lives. I had experienced people lying on me. It was a journey. It was a journey being at that place. And I ultimately ended up getting fired from that place. 12 years of working, doing my job, doing what I was supposed to do. I had never been terminated. I never been out here getting in trouble at work, write-ups, none of that. Like, I've never experienced that. So to have went through that hurt my feelings greatly. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about myself. I'm a very, very loyal person. I would have never left that job. Like, God himself literally would have had to been the one and he ultimately was the one to redirect me and to remove me from that job, because I wouldn't have quit. I would have continued to make, for me, what was enjoyable money. I would have been still thinking I was doing what I was supposed to be doing because I was helping people. I would have still been there. Heck, I would have even been trying to help the very people, ultimately, because that's just who I am, who was sitting in my face telling me they used to like me and they don't like me no more because I stopped opening myself up to conversations that I learned. I'm like, okay, this is just messy. So let me pull back. Let me, start staying to myself. And ultimately, doing what I thought was the right thing and what was best for me. Got people in my face telling me I used to like her, but I don't like her no more. And so again, I would have been continuing to be loyal to that, to my position and to the people that I was serving, because that's my nature. And I would have ultimately been miserable and unhappy and who knows what else, because misery loves company. And where you position yourself is ultimately where you'll start finding yourself. Internally, externally, like, be careful. And so, yeah, I went in all of that to say, don't allow a job to become a trap for you, to where it's wearing you down. You stressed and worrying, going through stuff to where you're not being able to focus on God and focus on what your purpose is. Because a job is to help you pay your bills. A job is to get you finances and opportunity to be able to, heck, maybe even fund your purpose, just depending on what that purpose is. Because God gonna make sure you fulfill your purpose. So if rather he needs you to play a part in it or not, by using the funds from your job, it's gonna come to pass. And yeah. So while you are working at your job, it is your duty to steward that job accordingly. And so I'm gonna pause right here, and then we're gonna get into the word itself. So again, we're reading Colossians 3 verses 23 and 24. And so it says, work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you are serving is Christ. But if you do what is wrong, you will be paid back for the wrong you have done, for God has no favorites. So, I mean, that's pretty clear, y'all. God wants us on our jobs to work as if we are working for him directly. If you are a cook, make sure you sanitizing, following protocol, doing everything in which you're supposed to do according to that company, according to your state's rules and regulations, and serve those people, cook that food with love, serve those people as if you serving God himself and the disciples for the last supper. You know, if you are providing services where you're going out to people's homes, respect their homes, respect them, treat them accordingly. Work as if whatever your job is, if you're teaching kids, whatever the case may be, do what you need to do according to your job's policy, rules, regulations, according to how God says that you are supposed to act as his child. Obey, and he will ensure that you get promotions. He will ensure that you're provided for. He will give you other opportunities, whether it's with that company, because I mentioned promotions, whether it's with that company or outside of that company. God gonna take care of you as long as you are doing what his word says, which is work as if you're working for him. If you don't do that, you will reap the consequences. As it says, he does not have favors. You will get back the wrong in which you have done. And so you chasing money, but that's not the reason why you solely supposed to be there, because you're not in alignment with him or whatever. For me personally, I was terminated, and before I was terminated, I had to endure some things that I should have never had to endure. But I placed myself at that job trying to worry about having greater income when God was providing for me and he was my source. And so I just really want you to understand, because I shared that, just, being transparent, but that's not the overall point or gist of this message. The point of this message is just so that you can understand that your job, your passion, and your purpose does not all have to be one and the same. You are at a job to provide for yourself, your family, take care of your responsibilities. Your passion are the things that are placed on your heart that you may enjoy doing, or that you will enjoy doing. and your purpose is who God has called you to be. So whether they coincide or not, they all will belong to you, and they all will provide for you as God sees fit for you and for his kingdom. And understand that you got preachers who have everyday jobs. Everybody's not going to be humming and singing and praying all day long and get paid for that. Like, we all have different things that we're called to do, and not all of it is within our means of finances to provide for ourselves. That's okay. That is not what his word says, that is fulfillment for our life, or that will come to pass for all of us. So understand that your purpose, your passion, and your job may or may not all be the same. God is your source. Focus on him and everything will be provided unto you. And work your job and do whatever it is that you're doing at the moment for income, as if you are working for God, and watch him provide for you in everywhere across the board. Your passion gonna be financed, your purpose gonna be financed, and you're gonna have growth within that job itself, because you are focusing on God and doing what his word says, which is working as if you're working for him directly. So lean on God, be obedient, listen to his voice. If you don't know what that sounds like, what he's saying, what you think you're supposed to be doing, read your word, because what you thinking, feeling, hearing, if it does not coincide with what this Bible says, that's not God. So lean on him. I love you. He loves you. See you next time.